What's going on, guys? Unknown Player here, and today in this video we're going to be rounding up and discussing all of my most essential tips for all of you new players going into Destiny 2 who have never played at Destiny before, or even those of you who stopped playing Destiny 1 a long time ago and are now coming back for the sequel wanting to understand what's changed and where to begin with this game. So obviously this video will be tailored towards new players and those of you who don't know much about this game, so almost like a beginner's guide. I know a lot of you guys on this channel that watch my videos are in the hardcore category, so you play a lot of Destiny, you keep up to date with the news, and you'll know a lot of the things that I'm going to talk about in this video, but I will be giving some tips that even a lot of hardcore players still don't know about Destiny 2, so there should be at least something that everyone can learn in this video. So I'm going to be partnering with Game, who is the biggest video game retailer here in the UK, to be a part of what's going to be called the Zero to Hero campaign. This is where I train 5 people who have basically never played Destiny before to eventually be able to take on things like the raid when Destiny 2 actually comes out, which should be pretty interesting to watch because obviously the raids are the most difficult activity in the whole game. So right up until the launch, I'll be giving the 5 of them some tips and useful things that I know about Destiny, like this video, and I'll be setting them a challenge they have to complete together live on the launch night. So you'll be able to watch yourselves and see how they do if they've picked up on any of the advice I'm giving them. And the full team is going to be announced soon on both mine and Game's channels. So the main aim is for myself in this video and those of you who are also Destiny veterans in the comment section to give tips and help out all the new players to this game. So firstly, let's talk about the classes, which one to pick out of the 3. You've got the Warlock, Hunter, and Titan. Each of those 3 classes have 2 subclasses so far that we know about. So starting off with the Warlocks, I'd definitely recommend these the most for beginners, simply because they're the most well-rounded class. They've got a bit of everything, to be honest, and they've got the best neutral game, so all the standard perks and abilities will always be useful to you, and they also have magic as well, which is obviously really fun. The first subclass is called the Dawnblade. Now, this revolves a lot around fire, burning enemies, and also aerial combat. The Warlock's jump naturally lets you float and glide around, so the Dawnblade takes it even further, letting you hover in midair to shoot stuff. The super ability gives you a flaming sword that lets you throw blades of fire at the enemy, so it's really reliable and also very lethal from range. The second Warlock subclass is called the Voidwalker. Now this is even more magical. It lets you siphon health from enemies and also has the most unique jump in the game called Blink, which lets you teleport short distances. A new addition in Destiny 2 that not a lot of people know about is that right after blinking you can hold the dodge button to glide down instead of falling, so you can do both blink and also glide now, which is really cool for movement. I mentioned siphoning, and the Voidwalker lets you take some energy from your superbar to make your grenades more powerful with new abilities. So if you do this with a scatter grenade, it's going to gain tracking, the vortex grenade will have a bigger blast radius, and the axiom bolt grenade is going to increase from 2 trackers to 4. Another perk choice instead lets you take energy from your grenade to actually heal yourself. So like I said, the Warlocks have a lot of really cool magic abilities and is definitely a well-rounded class. So next up is the Hunter, which is actually the one that I play myself personally the most. This is your lone wolf type class, and it isn't the easiest to use by any means, but when you do master it, you can pull off some really crazy things, because it focuses on gun skill, accuracy, and being evasive. So far, the 2 Hunter subclasses are firstly the Arc Strider. Now this is a lot about evasion, close quarters combat, meleeing, so basically an assassin. The Arc Strider's super ability is an electrified staff that you run around with to melee enemies up close while dodging, so it's really fun, and also has button combos that you can learn to perform different attacks with the staff. So like I said, definitely not the easiest subclass, but very, very rewarding if you master how to use those combos. So the second subclass for the Hunter is called the Gunslinger. Now, unlike the Arc Strider, which is all about being up close and personal, this class, the Gunslinger, is all about using your weapons, being deadly accurate, and dealing massive damage from long ranges. So one of its perks means getting headshots increases the reload speed of you and also your entire team, so it rewards accuracy like I said. The super ability is a flaming golden gun that can one-shot most things, so if you think you've got pretty good aim, the Gunslinger might be for you, because it's all about being accurate and using your weapons, and also has a cool throwing knife that explodes on impacts. So the third and final class in the game is called the Titan. Now these are highly armored and good at being defensive, but also can be the most aggressive brute force classes in the game. The Titan's 2 subclasses are those 2 exact things. So the Sentinel is a hybrid of being aggressive and defensive. You can give protective barriers to your teammates, you can place down a big bubble for even more protection, and the Sentinel's super ability is where the aggressive part kicks in. So this lets you run around smacking enemies with your shield and also throwing it at them. Now, the second Titan subclass is called the Striker. This is purely aggressive and all about rushing your enemy. So you can bash into people with your shoulder, you can slam the ground, destroying anything nearby, and even blind enemies with a flashbang grenade. So the Striker is definitely the fastest and the most offensive subclass in the entire game. So now that we know what each class and subclass does, let's look at Destiny 2's weapon system and how that works, the differences between slots, and how to get the most out of them. So you have 3 weapon categories, the kinetic, energy, and heavy. We're going to talk first about the differences between kinetic and energy, because there are a lot of interesting tricks with how to use them properly. So your first weapons up here are called the kinetic. These should be your main primary weapons because they do the most damage in every activity except the crucible. Still, not a lot of people actually know that, but always use your main primary weapon, the kinetic, for most damage against the aliens. Your secondaries are called energy weapons. Now, this is because they have elemental burns on them. There are 3 elements inside Destiny: Solar, the red fiery one, Arc is the electrical blue one, and Void is the purple spacey one. The reason you have these elements is because some enemies have elemental shields. So you see a Minotaur, for example, they will have purple shields, which means it's Void. So use a Void purple weapon matching the element to take down that shield. Now, in Destiny 2, matching the same element weapon to an enemy shield doesn't actually take it down fast anymore, but when it does destroy the shield, it's going to produce a small explosion of that same element, which can kill other enemies around it. So that is why there's an advantage to matching the same element of your weapon to the shield for that bonus explosion. Otherwise, in Destiny 2, matching the correct element doesn't actually matter all that much. A solar weapon will take down a void shield just as fast as a void weapon would, but if you use solar on void, you won't get that bonus explosion when the shield actually goes down. Now, when it comes to the crucible mode, so PvP against other players, elements don't matter at all. So use your kinetic or energy weapons. They both do the same damage against normal enemies. The only time it actually matters is when you're facing enemy supers that are running around, or you see things like a shield, for example, that's up. In this case, energy weapons actually do more damage than kinetic. So if you do see a super running around or a shield up, use your secondary energy weapons to take it down much faster. The element does not matter. As long as it's an energy weapon, it's going to do more damage against supers and also shields that are placed down. So to recap, inside the crucible against other people, kinetic and energy weapons are the exact same, except when it comes to supers. In that case, energy weapons do more damage. Everywhere outside the crucible against aliens, so missions, strikes, raids, you always want to be using your kinetic weapon against normal non-shielded enemies for that bonus damage, or swap to an energy weapon to take down a shield. So the power weapon slot at the bottom is pretty simple, to be honest. This is things that deal massive damage. So rocket launchers, grenade launchers, snipers, fusion rifles, shotguns, and even swords as well. Ammo for this slot is really hard to find, but they're the most powerful weapons in the game, and you save them for when you need the most damage. So that's been a beginner's guide to Destiny 2, looking at the characters you're going to play and the weapons you'll be using. Hopefully you found the video helpful. If you did, then a like rating would be much appreciated. You can check the links in the description to see more content from game. Keep an eye out for more announcements, and I'll see you guys in the next one.